Why, hello. Okay, let's get this all going. I think we're good to go. Hopefully. Good, 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 good. All right, so. I want to do a thing. I did a couple things. I fixed my boog. It was when we made it possible to give these guys widths instead of a flex. I put that in build, so anytime we tried to shrink it, it would say, it would shrink, and then you go, oh, hey, you're less than the minimum, or not the minimum, but the desired, so make you desired. So that's working now. I want to... I almost want to, like, add a little delay when you're dragging it out like that. And the other thing I need to touch up is this pokes out when it's collapsed. One thing at a time. I'm going to do the thing that's more interesting first, because I want to. I'm going to take a look here and say... is there a way that we could add, like, maybe half of the resize back off? We would need to maybe... we'd probably have to have another tracker for it, though. To know that we had just extended. But we don't want to introduce an awkward delay either. So I'm not sure exactly how I want to tackle that. If we were to... put you into some kind of a... so we set the state there. We put you into some kind of like a delayed sort of movement here, but you're going to keep looping through here because this is on the pan update. So we would need to have a deal here that we could toggle on pan end. So like if you let go, we undo that. That might be the best way to reason about it. We can still use these, I think. But let's do... maybe that. And then we can say down here, we do this. That's true. We want to make sure to remember to do that. And then when we're doing our resize, and we'll have to do this on the other side too. I guess it'd probably be at the very top where we say if just expanded and the resize count is less than, let's do resize back off divided by 2. Then we're going to increment resize count and return. And then anytime you pan false, it just, or on pan end, it just ends that. So theoretically, now if we collapse you, boop, you pop out. Oh no, we need to also say, yeah, reset that and false that. How does that feel? So we, oops. Oh, but that happens before we evaluate. That has to be done after we evaluate if we need to collapse you. Otherwise, that overrides that behavior. Actually, we need to also... It needs to go after all of our expanding and all that, I think. But before... Maybe there? We collapse. We expand. I need that to be longer. It's not quite... I think I might need to rebuild to get it to take effect, though. Collapse. Band. It's not quite holding as much as I want it to. That should reset you to 0. Do we just need longer? It shouldn't be. Well, that definitely changed the way it felt. I feel like it's not where I'd expect it to be based on how the other one feels, right? Well, that time it worked. It might be just enough to keep you. Yeah, I think that's okay right there, actually. That feels pretty decent. All right, let's go with that for now. And we can always tweak it later if we need to. This needs to go also live down here. I wonder if we could... generalize this. Not really, because the everything has to be the correct sides ratio and the correct... Yeah, I don't... There might be a way, but then we kind of get into like hard to read abstract-y sort of levels, I think. I think I'm just going to leave it there. That's still all valid. This is that. That's that. And now we should have... Do we... Yeah. We don't want it to feel like a really hard pause. Still just feels like just a hair too little. We only increment resize count. Here. Here. And here. We reset it down here. Just print that out while we're here. Do that and try that again real quick. Yeah, it's just really, really short. Okay. I mean, it's not bad. It just feels like... Like it just needs a little boost on that delay. Yeah, that's better. So if you're trying to just drag it out, yeah. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. I need to put you up there as well. For the other side, collapse, expand. Yeah. And then if you stop and re-grab it, I would also like to lock the pointer to the bar, but I'm not 100% sure I can do that. Let's investigate that in just a second here. Add a little delay on expanding tiles to prevent overshooting. Not really tiles, split views. It's fine. Panes. I'll know what I mean, I hope. Okay. Tell me, Internet, am I allowed to mess with the pointer position? So I would like you to stick to the deal while you're moving, even when there's that little delay. And I can change the cursor. It's not quite what I want. Capturing the mouse pointer. That's still open. Not quite what I want. Here we go. There's a Stack Overflow. There's no such functionality built into Flutter. Okay. But somebody else says, oh, set cursor position function on C++ file. So it's a method channel between the two. Looks like probably not. Okay. Well, we're just going to have to deal with that then. It'll be a little suboptimal, but the functionality works kind of the way I want it to. We can worry about the rest of it later. If ever. You know, it's just a little detail. It'd be nice. Oh, we got a dirt plugin update. It'd be nice, but like, you know, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so let's do that really quick since we are working in Dart. We want the most up-to-date goodness. We can stop you. We'll restart you to activate. I thought I told you to close. Quit. There we go. Let that index really quick. Okay. Yeah. The other thing I did is I went and revisited my number picker and changed the way instead of doing what I did what I was talking about. I implemented a layout and I ended up realizing that I really just wasn't gaining a ton from it. I limited it to 4 digits. That's 4 digits that you can type into it, which should be sufficient for our needs currently. If there was something that set beyond 4 digits, it would still display. It would clip a little bit, but that's not supposed to happen anyway. It's a graceful degradation, right? And then I just gave it a width that was appropriate to hold that amount of data. Turns out it was pretty close to where these wanted to be with the length of those guys. So I locked them because I put them in a wrap widget so that they just popped down, right? It was the only way to make this readable that I could figure out. So it's readable and usable now, which is, you know, good. The other thing I did was I started playing around with putting a trash button in there to delete the skill. It didn't work visually the way I wanted. If it wrapped and you put them on the right, then they would hang out over here down at the bottom, and that was fine. But then when it expanded, it would be like out here, and it looked awkward and weird. And then as these got bigger, like it came over here. I was just like, eh. And like these get kind of weird too, but they're text boxes, so I'm prepared to live with that. So I made this nullable. So we need to go handle all of that stuff. Which is fine because we need to worry about our null stuff over there anyway. So number picker just has a fixed maximum width and it's a sized box. So if it was to get smaller like this, it does start to shrink right before it collapses. You can kind of see it wiggle there a little bit. And the fact that it just happens to collapse before things become unreadable is just a happy accident that's a bonus. Kind of worked out. So that's where we left off on there. And I was really happy that I think we're done with you. That the result of swapping up for a wrap really simplified my widget tree here as well. And then I just these were like a couple pixels off. I just locked them to that width. If you make a really long and obnoxious name, it'll look a little bit funky, but like, don't make a really long obnoxious name. It's fine. They should be pretty short anyway. Okay. So we need to do both of these things. The valid... Oh, you also need to, when we set that to null, we need to clear the DC number. But one thing at a time. So, initial selection. Our problem here is that we have 2 levels of possible nullness here, right? And I went and made this build menu entries dynamically typed. I guess I can't fold everything. Before I remember that everything in here right now is a skill. Which is fine. It can stay that way. But for this, I think I just want to put you into a function. I think I want to call you, you're a void. I want to call you resolve selected item, maybe? And we will just grab all of this. And then this is going to be probably the DC. So this needs to be nullable. It's not, let's just do, what did I call you? Difficulty check. Nullable DC. If this is null, we're just going to return null. Oh, right. This needs to be... This can't be void because we need to use you. You're the return value. This is supposed to return a dynamic. What it really returns in this case is going to be a skill. But it'll be nullable. Like so. Otherwise, we get down here and we're going to say DC, which can't be null, which you're going to correctly realize that I've already checked. But here, we also need to say if the skill ID is null, we could actually probably just do that all in one. Otherwise, we'll return the value of that. Otter, hey, how you doing today? How's the dev? It's all right. We're making some progress. How's all of the everything with you? Not referenced because we haven't referenced it. Yay, progress, right. Don't scare him away, he's focused. Otter is? Or me? So we made some progress in rebuilding things in a better way. Currently putting pixels. Excellent. Are we doing beavers still? I need to go back up. Better rebuilding. Yes, right. I knew that there was a really solid chance that that front-end library was going to bite me. It's just too early days in its development. But I didn't expect it to be quite so soon. But I took that risk, and it did not work out for me. You know, oh well. Bark, tree bark. Oh, okay. I see. Is it worse than the biting? Hi, I think I'm new to that channel. I think you're new here as well, since it says first time chat. Welcome in. Beavers again soon. Nice. Excellent. Biting trees to be skate right. Let's see here. We need to go back down to our DCs, and instead of this, we're going to say resolve selected item, and this one is going to be um, template spot DC. And that should take care of this. And then this one, boop. We replace all of this with resolve selected item widget dot template dot use DC. What engine am I working with? My own. But it's not running right now. This is just the editor. Damn, I know. I had this bright idea that it would be a fun project, and it is, but it's also just a ton of work. Educational work, but a ton of work. Okay, so that should mean that everything here is still happy, and we can actually just toggle away really quick and back in to make sure everything gets reloaded completely. Make you a little bit bigger so we can actually see. Connections. Okay, so everything's still populated, but if I was to go into here and say, damn, right? Delete this line here because I'm an agent of chaos, then it would update to none. Perfect. In the future, we'll all use the Mongoose engine. I hope not. So much work. So much work. You all would find so many bugs doing weird things that I never thought of. Okay, so we have achieved non-crashiness and also selecting correctly of the things. Handle selecting initial value for the DC selectors. Okay. We also need to do on selected. We have if it's not null. The other thing we should do if it is null is change. So you can't be null if we're in here. But I think here we need to do that. Here, if it's null, this couldn't have been null in theory. But actually, we could just null you, I believe. So if I come in here and I reload back and I set you to none, boop, that does not update that because I forgot. Reload, please. That this we need to update the use DC number controller text equals 0. Or should I do, well, you'll be null. Oh, you need to be a string though. I guess we could do 0. The Mongoose engine is something I could afford myself. I would pay. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it just yet other than use it myself. But I do appreciate the sentiment. I've dabbled with the idea of just open sourcing it and say, play amongst yourselves. Oh, I forgot to set state too. But I also don't know if I want to do that. In here, let's go ahead and do that. But also, I don't think we can really get away from not doing that at all. I believe we need to do that. Unless I'm mistaken and misremembering. Doesn't update that. Interesting. Oh. Am I dumb? Probably dumb. I've been changing use DC. There we go. And modifying spot DC. There we are. So it does work correctly. In fact, do I even need this to be in here? Now that I have realized my stupidity. I need you to just go ahead. Completely reset, because I don't have my reset button in yet. And if I was to change this, then you would do that, but null check operator used on a null value. And I think it's here. Which means we probably also don't correctly handle yet. I need to put my reset button in. Should have done that first. Oh well. So if we reset the data there, if I was to come in here and just delete that as an agent of chaos might. Ah yes, things become very broken. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, I forgot to delete that. Less interesting. Then it does correctly set to 0. Okay. But if we were to say not have a DC at all, then it would also correctly work. Interesting. Okay. Because, I believe that when I created the machinery up here, yeah, if there's nothing in there, if the spot DC is null, so we handle it correctly there, but that's only on initialization. We need to also handle it correctly down here. But here, there's, again, 2... But we can do regular stuff in here. So we can say... Or... If these equal null, and in this case, boop, that can't be null? Oh, my int can't be null. It's defaulted to 0. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's easier. Perfectly okay with that. So we only need to make sure that the DC itself isn't null. And if we're going to do that, let's see here. I guess we would just say... I don't like it. Let's see here. Otter make games. Are you doing your own games? Or are you an otter and making your own games? Why not both? And I should question my sanity talking to an otter, hoping to get some human answer. But in the end, we're all human, just looking for comfort, except otters. Those creatures just want to see the world burn. I don't think that's true. I think otter is an agent of good. Otter's probably lurking, doing all the pixels, but Otter also streams, and he makes games, and you should totally follow him. Otter is a totally rad otter. He like make a game. And play a game. Excellent. Yeah, yeah. What's the there it is. Everybody chilling out in here should also follow the otter. All right, so what was I doing? Oh yes, I was figuring out how I want to handle this. If I could, so what I can do is I can say up here, as long as these things take up the same amount of space, if this is null, well, actually, I probably need to ternary this because I want to do an else. So we do a number picker. Number picker can be the else. We'll do no spot DC, let's just say. Make engine, right? Well, this is make editor today, but yeah. Yeah. Now I need to go mangle my data again. As one does. Wrong button. This file. So we've decided that we don't have a spot DC, let's just say. Gonna make your script type Mongoose script? No. I guess you could almost think of the command language of the I need to do a changed spot. Yeah, that's spot. The command language of the mud you could almost think of as Mongoose script. Let me just make sure it didn't grab and hang on to something. Yeah, no spot DC. Okay, perfect. But I would like for you to be... Can I do this without breaking everything? Probably not. But you know, let's just find out. I can actually, except for you're gonna be, ugh, gross, gross. I could do this, but I believe I don't need comma. I do need to close that and that. I believe this is gonna break things in other interesting ways. Can I do this without breaking everything? Dev life right there, right? Then it breaks that because, okay, oh, actually, ideas happened. if I did instead a sized box, because we know how wide the number picker is, and I say width is 165. I'm off to go to bed, have fun, and a nice dream. Hey, thanks. Appreciate you. You have a wonderful night. We'll catch you some other time. And then I can center inside of here, I think, without destroying everything. Okay. Well, it didn't center vertically. And it's actually not going to completely... Oh, we need to fix that. It's also not going to completely be non-wiggly because it's not going to have the same height. We would have to figure out the height of the... the number picker, which is not fixed. It's allowed to just tell itself how high it wants to be. Could fix it and get it close. I'm confused as to why that didn't center inside of there. If we put the row inside of there, because I know you have, Mr. Row, the ability to say things like cross-axis alignment, cross-axis alignment center. And that doesn't work either. Huh. It's got to be because the container isn't actually growing tall enough. So I bet you center would work in there. But none of that actually fixes the problem. Let's say I just did 60 as a height for funsies. Then you would be centered inside of that. But that is not how tall you are. It would probably be closer to 40. It's going to be some awkward. And I can't get... I could also omit, come to think of it, that. What if I just put an empty one in there? How stupid is that? As an idea. It's going to make this wiggle when you change that, though. So it's going to need a height. And we were 40 is what we said was kind of close. Ah, it's smarter than me. It doesn't seem to render a height. Is that because it doesn't have a width or because it doesn't have contact? 40, doesn't matter. I bet you it's still wrapping. Ah, yeah. It's still hanging out up top because it doesn't have a width or it doesn't have a sufficient width. So you need to be that still just for the sake of spacing. Oh, actually. I think... you might have like an active... or an enabled. Enabled. Okay. And if we were to pass that up, and then we could say, we'll default you to true. You are widget.enabled. Then we can say enabled is not equal to null. And then instead of doing all this, we just have our number picker again. So if you are null, this is actually, I think, backwards. No. So if it is null, that's false. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That sort of fixes the prob without being too obnoxious and disruptive. Let's go with that. Let's do that. So let's go ahead and put you also on the use DC here. And then let's unmangle our data real quick, because we have some other things we need to button up in here. Namely, we need to go back to here. So because we were able to pull that out of the set state here, then we can just say in here, we'll do the same logic. Actually, we might be able to only do this once. Because we don't ever return in here. We just do an if check, and then down here, because we did something here, right? Something happened. We'll set our modified only one time. So let's also do the same thing up here with this fella. That only fires if skill is not equal to null. Ah, yeah, but we changed that. Yep. So down that happens. This all comes out of here. And we do the same stuff here. Chuck in our else. Let the auto format clean that up. There we go. Except for you are the spot DC. And then we need to do the same thing here. Actually, we can just do that as part of this too. It's fine. It's not that much out of the same wheelhouse here. So we do that. Up here, first and foremost, we also say if editable template copy spot DC is null. And close here for me, please. Oh, there's already made one. What are you complaining about then? Oh. My skill issues. That's what you're complaining about. There we go. So in here, we'll say, if this is null, that doesn't go there, comes down here. It's this, and then this ID is skill dot UUID. Otherwise, just set it. Does it matter? We would lose... Yeah, we do want to do that, because otherwise we lose whatever the number might be set to in something else if we're just toggling from one to the other, if there's no null in here. So... I feel like I'm chasing this nullable around. Would it be better to say that you can't be null? Because I'm doing a lot of handling for this to be null when... Then I would have to do... That's why I did that here. I did that to make it easier. Otherwise, I'd have to do that with an empty for skill ID. Thought there was a null or a 0. I could be mistaken. Okay, so that's why I did that. Because the UUID gets awkward. I'd have to put that back. Like I could do it. I guess the question, it's the age-old question of where do I want the complexity to live, right? Do I want to worry about nulling things in here and making sure they're not null? I do like being able to clear it just like so, right? Otherwise, I'd have to create a null thing again and shove it in there. And then it just needs to know not how to handle that, right? I think we're going to leave that over here. Or in the data model. We're going to leave that alone. We're going to just handle our nulls here. I may come to regret that, but I'm going to do it. This we need to do down here as well, because we have 2 different flavors. Boop. Boop. Like so. Except you are down here. Use DC. That. Otherwise, put you in there. Okay, perfect. Okay. I think... Oh, I also need to do... No, you're not... Make sure you're not holding on to anything. Anything stale. Okay. There we go. Perfect. You were holding on to things that were stale. Alrighty then. I think this is okay. For meow. Unselected. Oh, did we also remember to... I guess I could make you guys, in the case of no doobly-doo, Like, this isn't really a valid data state anyway. We just need to be able to handle it. I need to come out and back in. Wait, no. It was an empty DC, right? Yeah. Except for I changed. It's awkward that I have to do both of these. Can I do... I think I can combine these into a helper. We'll get there in a second. No, I changed both, but this only fires in the on-selected. Okay. Because that changes the behavior from the load, I'm going to leave that alone for right meow. We're going to put this back real quick. We need to get our reload in here. The proper reload. This just reloads from the data. It doesn't actually change the widgets. Which it probably should, come to think of it, but we'll fix that as we go here. For now, we need to add a quick summary message. So we handle null DCs and deleting and creating. Handle null DCs, handle deleting and creating DCs in drop down menu change. That's good. That can go up. Perfect. Meow. Next. Why is it that you don't actually... Oh, because you reload... Because you live in a different widget. You live way up here in... the template bar widget. You reload the data in the controllers. But... that doesn't trigger reloading the child widget. We would have to... probably... in the on-click up here. Gonna head to sleep. Thanks for the stream, Mongoose. Have a good one. Hey, man. Thanks for swinging by. It was good to see ya. Enjoy your sleep. Enjoy your lurk. Let's see. I would need to... we do call set state, though. So why don't you pick up that there's changes in the widgets? Because you set the parent state. That's why. Enjoy your dev and stream. I shall. I would have to make the widget... I think that... so that it gets recreated. Ooh, this resize. There's been a performance hit there. I bet you it's in... it must be in the split view. We'll have to investigate that. It's kind of drugged down a little bit. Anywho, but since we gave you a global key, if I was to come in here again and just do chaotic things to my data and then reload, then you would take the update correctly. Because we probably do want you to be reloaded if the data underneath you changes. And that should also throw away. Yeah. That is the least surprising behavior of a refresh, I think. I'm gonna do the same thing in here. I think it was global key. Global key seems to be working. We did the same thing in status effect. Nope. It must have been skills and attributes then? No, where did I do that? You only have the one. Status effects. In here? No. Well, I did it somewhere, and it's working, so I'm going to go with that until I figure out anything that says I shouldn't do that. Anywho. We'll go with that. And we're going to do a commit for it. Because we want to keep that in there. Global key to the template widgets so that we reload the child widgets when we reload the data from file. That's how we word that. Okay, so before we go any further, well, no. I'm just going to leave myself somewhere conspicuous. I guess here's as good places anyway. Any to do. No. Here is a good place. That's where we're doing it before. To do. Investigate lag on resizing map widget. And we're going to put you actually right after this guy. I lied after this guy because he's already kind of done. We also need to, before I forget, to do, we'll do that after. Figure out why the add new text still visible when template bar is collapsed, and fix Eat. Okay. And then we're going to go back to our connection template so that we can kind of keep rolling on that for meow. Because we've got our none. We need to add our save and reload and stuff. That's going to become... At the very least, we need to get our reload, or refresh, I should say. Revert. There's the word. Revert. Need to get that working. Oh, I need to extract this too. Ah, crap. Okay, let's do that first. We do need to get the reload working so that as we continue to work on this thing, we have it available to use it. We're going to call this void DC update. Sure. So the thing that we need to pass in here is the difficulty check. And it is nullable. Except we also would need to do, we'd have to have the controller down here, the text controller. Which isn't the end of the world. Text editing controller. Number controller. And the skill. We do need to pass it in the skill. So, skill, nullable, skill. Then difficulty check, nullable, difficulty check, text editing controller, not nullable. Okay. So we can say if the skill is null, then editable template copy, nope, DC. DC is new one, skill UUID, perfect. Otherwise, this is DC, skill ID is equal to skill UUID. That. Otherwise, DC is null, and our number controller text is 0. You actually can stay up with your parents so that all of this becomes the DC update skill. This is because we're using a class for you. I think this should be passed as a pointer. And then this is use DC number controller. Like so. We need you. No, I need a comma. I lied. Spot DC. Yeah, this is actually spot. Wrong thing. Okay. And then we do the same thing here. DC update skill. Editable template copy. Use DC. Use DC number controller. Places all of that. Don't forget your comma. Okay, these should all still work correctly. So if we do boop, you seem to be okay. Boop. And then if we did none, then you would get set to 0. But you would not. That's going to take us doing a state update, I think. Crap. Except for you should have updated, because modified should have been true. Oh. If I did that correctly, it would also probably help. No? Oh, that's use DC. Nope, still not working. Why not working? I wonder if it's not getting set to null because it's done in that function. Crap. We'll do the update. We'll do that as a test. You can't be null. You'll complain if you are actually null. That's fine. Ah. Well, you didn't do that on spot. Changed you on use, though. Yeah, you're not getting nulled. Crap. Okay. I was a little bit afraid of that. So what I'll have to do here instead of just having this thing do its thing is I'm going to need this to return a difficulty check. I can't do that either. I think these guys are just going to have to live up here being a little suboptimal. Use DC, use DC, use DC. It's a little bit repetitive, but we get into trouble. Bot DC this. We get into trouble trying to generalize you too much because we don't really have anything we can't null it in there. I guess we could if we were to pass the template in, but then why would we do that? We have access to the template. We passed you in there so that we could change the specific one without doing like a generic or something wonky like that. We're just going to leave it like this. We are going to fix this though. You Oh, because that fire isn't on change. So we'll just null check you here before we do any of that. How you like them apples? Oh, do we even need to wrap it if I do that though? Can I just do, yeah, I can just do that and say, hey, if you're not null, just, or you are null, you just ignore it. It's fine. I can do that. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna do the same thing. We did spot, yeah, that makes sense. Use is the one that's broken still. That, like so. None. None. We don't. Use DC. Use DC. Why do you work? But not you. Else, use DC as null. Use DC not equal to null. It's not an order of operations thing, is it? Oh. Oh. It's because we need to set state in here anytime we change anything. Because modified doesn't fire on the second time. Which is why it works the first and not the second. So now, boop, boop, perfect. And if we do it the other way around, because everything about this is very, very statey. Okay, reset you. So you're back to good. Meow. What do we else we need to do here? Create you, we delete you, we take care of those. I think we're good on that. Hang on, what else did we change? Oh yeah, we added the to-dos, yeah. So only set C value if it's not been nulled on change. And let's see, the other thing we need to do. Oh, actually, that gives me an interesting idea. Oh. We pull that down. We'll do that in a second here. If it's not been null unchange, also always set state if we modify the DCs. Which actually, thinking about it, I'll have to think about that a little bit. It's probably fine, but what if instead of doing this, if we said so if it's not null, we set the value. Otherwise, actually, we don't need an else case here. So that means we probably get away with just an if in the funky Dart way. And oh no, we do need, I'm sorry. We do need an else case. The else case is editable template copy. No. Else case is spot DC number controller text is 0. We could do that instead of this whole else block up here, I think. We need a comma though still. Is that true? Is that a true facts? Let's go do the same thing here. If I could type it would help. Else spot DC number controller text equals 0. You, not you. Didn't fire that. Oh, crap. Okay. I must be getting tired. I'm making dumb mistakes. Dumber than usual. This would still need to be here. And then, yeah, we don't need an else condition here. So we just do that, and we do that. Oop. And then we're able to, let's just test you in the one. You're the spot DC. Spot DC, none. But then you don't get disabled. Oh, because I don't know you anymore. Jeez. Yeah, none of that makes any actual difference. I am losing my mind. Just put all of this back. It's a little bit ugly, but everything was in the right place. Don't touch it anymore. Except for now I've broken that. Why have I broken that? That, but this. Use DC is null. Spot DC is null. Is this a hot reload error? Not. Okay, perfect. It was a hot reload error. Okay. Don't mess with it. Okay. Yeah. It is hot in here. Okay. So we've done this part. We need those buttons that I was talking about earlier that I've been procrastinating doing. I want them to live. Need to fix that soon too. I think I just want them to live down here. So I'll add another row and we'll put the buttons on the right. And if we use the small buttons, they should be good. When we shrink. So there's number picker, there's row, which has a list of widgets. In here, what have we been using? We've been using floating action button. Not that one. Pretty sure it's been floating action. Yeah, floating action button dot small. So we'll use the same. We'll try it without the small first, but I think they're going to have to be small. On pressed, this little empty function. You also have child, which is an icon, icons dot reload, refresh. Okay, puts you there. Ooh, you might just end up needing, we'll find out. Because we need a refresh, we need wait, no, you don't go here. You're in the wrong place. I'm not inside of the wrap. Did I miss? Yeah, I grabbed one too many rows. Yeah, rows. You're down here at the end after the number picker. No, that's not even true, is it? You're outside of the form field. You're here. Down there. Perfect. Okay. Meow. We need a little spacing for things to breathe a little bit. That didn't quite get it, though. What have I been doing? Oh, sidebar form field. Because you guys have padding. Okay. That's fine. Actually, I can put the same... this. I can use you to wrap everything and have the same padding so that I don't have to muck with anything. You have the same spacing. Perfect. Okay. So we need refresh. We need... we can just also give a func real quick. Your child is icons dot save. Okay, and then in here, just do 20. See how that looks. That's decent. And then we need you. Also a little funk real quick. Child. Icon. Cons dot. Delete forever outlined. Yeah. That one. Okay. How does that look if we... Shoop-a-doop boop boop. Oh, you know what? We can't give these unique keys. Dang it. Because as you notice, if I'm down here and I move a thing, that makes things rebuild, which I don't want. Crap. Also, this needs to be in an expanded, I believe. No. That breaks everything. I would need to put you in a wrap. Spacing would remain the same. Yeah, I gotta fix that real quick. Crap. Get rid of those so that I can actually see things again. Okay, so that's what happens at the minimum size. But if I switch these to the small fellas, then at minimum size, oh, they still wrap. Oh, but they're also a huge gap now. If I cut that back down to like 10, then everybody's happy at small. And then, oh, but then I can't. Oh, maybe I can. No, that's not cross-axis though. But I don't need wrap anymore. It can go back to being a row. That's not, it's a main axis. And so they live over there, meow. And then as they shrinky. That's okay. The intended size is this. And that keeps us pretty close to what we had going on here. In fact, I believe these will grow over, yeah. I think we're okay there. And if it bugs me later, I'll fix it later. Oh, interestingly enough, performance only sucks. Resizing on connections? No, it doesn't suck there anymore either. Maybe slightly more. Oh, you know why? Because we're not rebuilding it every time. That rebuild. That rebuild really hosed me. It broke a lot of stuff in subtle ways. Okay, good to know. Good to know. So we've already done that. Oop, nope. This one. There we go. Okay, yeah, you're not overflowing anymore. Shut up. So No, you're not. What are you complaining about? Do I need to stop you completely? And then do a restart completely? There's nothing to overflow anymore. Yeah, okay. Let's also fix up this guy. Is it no, background color, theme of context, color scheme, error container, style. Where's my text? Foreground color, background color. Is it foreground? It can't be. Can it? Maybe. Foreground color. Theme of context. Color scheme dot on error container. Yep, it seems to be right. Okay. Perfect. Now, let's actually just do app editor, template bar. Yeah, hang on. This. Nope. It's dash staged? Yes. We don't want to do that guy. We want to do the widgets for the template bar. Yes. Move global key. This breaks a lot of things. I should have done the rest of the commits. That's fine. Should just committed twice and then pushed. It won't matter at all. So here we add the bottom buttons to the template form. Push that up. Okay. Now, next thing. We need to have a refresh function here. And what I actually think I want to do is follow the same pattern I've done before. We do void refresh or reload data. And what we do is the first thing is say editable template copy equals connection template clone from widget.template. Then we say our name controller text is editable template copy name we should have a description for next because we can't really bind to these data fields. We just have to handle resetting them. The next is enter message controller. Forgot to say text here. Editable template copy. Enter message. Leave message controller. Text equals editable template copy. Leave message. Then we have spot DC skill controller. Can I set you selection? Equals editable template copy spot DC skill ID? No, I need to do this here. If you're not null, then this selection is going to equal widget dot template dot dot skill controller dot get item by ID editable template copy spot DC dot skill ID. Otherwise, and then you can't be null, nor can you. Can you? You could be. So I actually need to say here I can't do that though. Oh, but I'm just in a function here. I can just write this out normal. I don't need to flutterize it. So we do you, boop. But this is actually down here. This is actually up here. You say if widget dot skill controller dot dot spot widget template spot DC not equals null and widget dot template dot spot DC dot skill ID not equals null. And we need to say here you can't be null if we got this far. Then we set that. The other thing we have to worry about here is saying actually, we could probably do this. And chuck another if in here. Like so. Make sure we have the right number of closing braces here. So we can say if the spot DC is not null, then we check the skill ID. If it's not null, we set it. Not widget dot. Spot DC number control. There we go. Equals dot spot DC DC to string. Do I have to string you? I think so, because it's actually the text. And then we repeat the same thing for the use DC. If you're not null, just a space there bothering me. I guess that's not required. If you're not null, if that can't be null for here, skill ID isn't null. We do the same thing, but we do widget dot. Oh, I forgot to do. This is our selection. We gotta do the same thing here. Selection widget dot skill controller dot get item by ID. Editable template copy. Spot DC can't be null. We checked you. Skill DC can't be null. We checked you. Like so. Next step. Use DC. Did I? I did. Swapped you again. Then the number controller text equals editable template copy spot DC. Use DC. Doing it wrong again. Use DC. There we go. Nope. I'm stupid. That is spot up there. I'm use DC down here. DC. Two-string. Okay. Gosh. Be time to go to bed here real soon. Okay. And then that's the extent of that. So what we do is when we click on the refresh icon here, we just run a function that says reload data. We can actually wrap you in set state. Like so. And then if I come back over here and I say that I monkey around, it doesn't matter really. We'll say, we'll make you 2 just for the sake of it, and then none. And then we'll make you 10. And I reset you. Oops, something ain't right. Skill is not a subtype of type text selection. Oh. Do you need to be... You return dynamic. Do I perhaps need to say that text selection? I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing the selection logic wrong. I thought I could change that. What did I do for... We would have done you in status effects. In the edit panel, where I load data. Or I guess I called you reset fields. I could do the same. I like that a little better, actually. It's more representative of what we're actually doing. Modifier option controller text. Uh-oh. Do I have trubs? Just a little blip there. Hopefully we're back alive here in a second. Live on my side. There we go. Okay. Twitch was just freaking out. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm tired as heck. To do. Reset the selection of the skill drop down menu. Or not skill, but DC. Menus. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm getting too tired to think. It's been a long day. So, we're going to get a couple people in here. A couple of you are just lurking, but that's totally cool. Let's raid out for the Twitch folks here to somebody else who's chill. Can I do... Yes. So, if you like this kind of thing, I usually do it for roughly 2 hours a night, 4 days a week, starting tonight, ending on Monday night. So, if you like this kind of thing, I'd love to see you again. Thanks for everybody who did swing by and hang out. It was good to see you. I would love to see you again. And if not, you guys have yourselves a great weekend, and I'll catch you some other time. But we're going to go raid over to Mr. Zed. Let's go.